Now, we welcome back to the show. Great pleasure. Newt Gingrich, former House Speaker, Fox News contributor. Newt, welcome as always. And my biases, if you heard the riff, you'll hear my biases. But hear this, too, that we're going to have a 2-week extension for the talks and for the opening up the Strait of Hormuz. This is Iran's game. This is what they always do. You know, we want to postpone. We want extensions. We want ceasefires. We want to have arguments about the location, who sits at the table, all this nonsense. I think the time is to strike right now, Newt Gingrich. Right now, the time is here to strike. What do you think?
Well, I think, first of all, a Pakistani proposal isn't the same as an Iranian proposal. I'd be very surprised if the Iranians agree that they're going to open the straits for the next 2 weeks. That would allow virtually all the ships that are bottled up to get out of there, and would be a huge decline in their leverage. Larry, I think this is simple, but very hard. The simplicity is this. You have a dictatorship, religiously motivated, which has now for 47 years chanted death to America, and which has been consistently trying to get missiles and nuclear weapons that could reach America. Now, that's just a fact. On the other hand, if we are not prepared to stop them now, then 10 years from now, if we lose Chicago or Seattle or Boston, and the media says, oh my God, how did this happen? Well, it happened because the Pritzkers and the Schumers and all of the people who kept whining, in fact, blocked the United States from what it should do. The president has to have, I think, 2 major agreements. One, that the Strait of Hormuz is international water and will never, ever again be blocked by Iran. And 2, that the Iranians will give up both their missile program and their nuclear program. If he can't get those 2 agreements, as a historian, and somebody, I just wrote a piece on Churchill and Hitler. Churchill kept saying for a decade, look at who these people are. And he kept saying, if you don't stop them now, it's going to get a lot worse. So I would say to the president and for the country, we have to insist on an Iran that is not a danger to the American people. And the time to save Chicago or St. Louis or Washington is now, not after we lose a city.
When you look at the conditions set by the United States, and when you look at the response from Iran, they're dealing with 2 different planets. I mean, I've said that from day one. When it says Iran is willing to negotiate over what? They've already rejected our 15 points. And even if you boil it down to opening up the strait, the enriched uranium, not only do they have to stop, but they have to turn over their stockpile of it. They're not going to do that. They'll never do that peacefully. They're never going to walk across the line and say, here, take this. And the ballistic missiles, I mean, you know, when they fired those 2 missiles into the Indian Ocean, I know one was intercepted and the other one fizzled out. But nonetheless, that was 2,500 miles or so. That was a shocker. I mean, that's why it's an imminent threat. So I don't understand why we would negotiate, you know, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. What does that mean? That's Iran's game. If it's Iran, I mean, I don't know what you're right about the Pakistani prime minister. Who does he speak for? And I haven't seen the cold print, so I don't know what's in it. But to continue to string along and play along makes no sense at all. He has a chance, Newt, I'll be honest. Trump has a chance to be one of the greatest presidents in American history. He has a chance to do that. And he has to do it through war, okay? Maybe that's regrettable, but that is what, and he has done it. And our military has done it in an alliance with Israel. And this is a historical moment. And I don't want to see it slip away, Newt. That's, I guess, my point. I don't want it to slip away.
You know, President Franklin D. Roosevelt, trying to convince the American people that the Nazis and Adolf Hitler were truly a threat, gave a radio address in September of 1941 and said, if you're standing next to a rattlesnake, You don't have to wait until it bites you to crush it. It when somebody says to you for 47 straight years, death to America, when despite bombing and everything else, they insist on building a nuclear program and missiles, as you point out, that now are good enough to reach Europe, when it's clear that they're prepared to kill 46 or 47,000 of their own people in the last 3 months to stay in power. How much evidence do our friends in the media, in the Democratic Party, in the elite establishment, how much more evidence they need? This is a bad regime prepared to do bad things, and what is at stake is American cities. And we need to drive this home. If you want to cave into Iran, then you're either prepared to kowtow and allow the Iranians to dominate, or you're prepared to risk losing city after city. And anybody who is not prepared to be honest about it, you just need to call them out. Because this, I think, Larry, I think you agree with this, I think this is one of the most pivotal moments.
Yes.
Trump has shown enormous courage
Yes.
in getting us to this moment. But now's when it counts.
Yes.
This is Lincoln at Gettysburg. This is the moment when you have to stand firm if, in fact, you want to save the country.
Yes, sir. I don't want this moment to slip away. You are so right, Newt Gingrich. Thank you. Appreciate it very, very much.